find your article you wrote on Cincy Jungle about the wonderful draft that the Bengals have had the last couple of years on defense. I thought it was a really telling article, to be honest.
Yeah. I've been putting in some work on some of these articles because obviously I would just like to write about the season and clip up stuff, but that's just honestly been depressing.
Yeah, a little bit.
So I went through those 10 of the last 13 picks and talked about them on the defensive side of the ball. Premium picks in the first 3 rounds.
And one guy is good. DJ Turner. Juan Drago.
One guy.
One
that you could say you feel like's probably a hit. Now, I was fair. Dax Hill is somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, he is.
Even Cam Taylor-Britt, his first 2 years looked like he was on a Pro Bowl trajectory, and the last 2 seasons have just gone in the tank. So, yeah, it doesn't look promising. But once again, it's within the last 4 years. Some of these guys can still prove themselves.
Hopefully.
But it doesn't look good. I mean, if we're being honest.
Yeah, it doesn't. By the way, I'm dressed because I'm like this because we're going to go to the hockey game tonight, the Cyclones game tonight. So that's why I started the show at 5:00 because we want to help get down there and get parked and everything. So I appreciate you guys being able to jump on a half hour.
You're just selfish, man. You're selfish. I get it.
Yeah.
I am. I'm very selfish. By the way, AC, I got so many people making comments on your Wild Thing costume you had for a Halloween show.
Oh, really?
Really? All kinds of people. Yeah. People loved it. I'm like, next year I'm going to have to actually dress up for Halloween for the show.
It's funny because I'm not a Halloween guy really, but I just found that online and I'm like, why the hell not? I'll do it.
There you go.
All right. Well, now you press the people so much that you have to do it again next year with another costume. I mean, you already have that one. You can just run it back, to be fair.
I actually might do it.
There you go. All right, boys. So, and me being the eternal optimist, and I'm going to put this in quotations, I don't really think this is going to happen. But the Bengals could somehow make a run of this thing still, right? And if they were, just to hear me out, if they're able, and I think they have a shot at beating the Steelers on Sunday because they beat them already. I do think they have a shot at doing this. If for somehow they're able to beat the Ravens and sweep them, and then you've got Arizona, Miami, and Cleveland, the last 3. There's a shot you could win this. We're not winning the wild card, but there's a shot, a small shot. You can win the division.
How many shots have you taken today, Jeff?
This is my first.
Speaking
one.
of shots, okay, all right, okay.
Well, I started that out because people keep coming at me like, "Well, Joe Burrow shouldn't play. He doesn't need to. He the season's over. Yada yada yada." I was like, "Well, Joe Burrow doesn't think that way. None of these guys are actually thinking the season's over. They all want to take a shot. They're in there to win this." So I'm like, "What would it take for them to actually win this?" Because Joe, what got me thinking about this? Joe said, "Wild card is done. If we're gonna make the playoffs, we got to win the division." I'm like, well, if you're already undefeated in the AFC North, well, if you stayed undefeated and you won the last 3, maybe you could pull it off. And that's what got me thinking. That was listening to what Joe Burrow said in his press conference. So I mean, it's a long shot. Like, and I'm not saying they can pull this off, but it is a shot, and it could happen because I think they can beat the Steelers. Ravens, I'm not so sold on, but their defense isn't that good, and I do think we can score on them. It just depends if we can stop them or not, which haven't been able to stop the Jets or the Bears. So, yeah. Anyway, go ahead, AC. On my crazy Friday, the optimistic thought.
It is a little crazy, but I mean, going to what the players said, I mean, you're not going to expect guys to start, folding up the tents and saying that sort of thing publicly anyway. But I do think there is a sense of belief in that locker room. How founded it is, I'm not sure. But I mean, basically, really, what you got to have them. They got to go 6-2 at least the rest of the way, and that might be pushing it because we saw that 9-8 didn't take care of it last year. So, but you're right. The wild card, that's not going to be. I don't think that's going to be obtainable for them. For me, it's really kind of doing some things that for the Bengals that are kind of unprecedented, at least in kind of recent history. That's beating Lamar Jackson twice in a year. I think Lamar Jackson has one loss as a starter against the Bengals in his career.
I think so, yeah.
And that was in the year that the Bengals, I believe, swept the division. So, look, I mean, they just got to kind of start doing some unprecedented things, and they've done some unprecedented things in the negative already this year. So they got to swing that pendulum completely the other way. I'm really curious to see how this whole quarterback scenario plays out. When Joe comes back and what game that'll be, and can Flacco still play at a high level and they scrape together some wins. I mean, it's possible. These last two losses have just torpedoed the season.
I mean, I go back to that. Just think if they would have won and Joe Burrow was back on the field Tuesday, we'd be freaking going nuts. Like, oh, we are so back, baby. But we lost to the Jets.
Yeah.
And the thing is, Joe Flacco played out of his mind, played incredible football. Like, we didn't lose those games because Joe Flacco or the offense. So whether Burrow is in there or not, listen, that's not a knock on Burrow. We know he's arguably
top 3 quarterback.
He's top 3. We can
arguably
higher than that, but he is top 3 quarterback in the NFL. But you didn't win those games, and you're 3-6. Exactly. So you're staring down playing in Pittsburgh, who also needs a win because the Ravens are creeping up on them, and they got to try to hold them off for the division because every other team's thinking that too. It's not just the Bengals.
Right.
We need to win the division to guarantee a playoff spot here. The Ravens are thinking that. The Steelers are thinking that. So are the Bengals.
But that's what I'm saying. Like,
we have the worst defense by far of those 3 teams.
Oh, yeah.
And now we're playing Pittsburgh, New England, who's playing damn good football. Mike Vrabel, head coach, and Drake Mays put himself in MVP conversation. Then you get Baltimore and Lamar, like you mentioned. Then you get Josh Allen and Buffalo, and then you get Lamar again. That stretch of games when you've already lost 6.
Yeah,
I don't see I think we do just enough to win some games to where we're picking around 15 to 17.
Oh, we're probably
like we do so many.
Goody.
Yeah,
the Marvin money range, right?
Yeah,
that's the.
It's been the Zach money range lately too.
Yeah.
9 and 8.
We talked about a little bit about this on our show earlier this week, John and I, and the one thing that I kind of said by December 7th, we'll pretty much know the fate and the direction of not only the Bengals, but the AFC North, because there's a number of divisional games in the North where they all kind of play each other. And then, of course, you have, I think the 7th is the Buffalo game. So I by that time, I think we have a pretty good idea as to where this is going to go. But here's the other thing. In these last 2 losses, and granted they were by 1 possession and, fluke deals here and there and that sort of thing. To me, the only thing the defense, in terms of, unless they make a massive, massive uptick in performance somehow over the bye, after the bye week, at this point, they just need to get basically 2 turnovers a game. Because if you look at this stretch with Flacco, it was, the beginning of the year, Browning was playing awful, and that's what, precipitated the losses type of thing. Right now, Flacco's 1-3. He's playing out of his mind, but these last 2 losses are the ones where the Bengals defense didn't get a turnover. And for them, that's really the only way at this point that they have been able to make stops or keep points off of the board, even if it's like a punt from the offense, a deep shot that turns into an interception. At this point, that's becoming the difference in the 1 possession games, at least between the Steelers game and the 2 losses that followed it. So if the Bengals can just get 1 to 2 turnovers a game on defense, even if they're still giving up points and a ton of yards and all that kind of stuff, you could see those 1 possession games, those 2-point games, 1-point games turn in your favor.
Now, my question for you guys is, and you guys probably know the numbers, but we had not blitzed as much as I thought we would with Algorn. I thought Algorn would blitz a lot more. Do you see that to me with Trey not going to be in there, and Shamar Stewart, which he's not going to be in there, but he's not really getting pressure on the quarterback anyway. But biggest thing is Trey not being in there. The only thing I can think of is blitz the hell out of them. Blitz them from everywhere. I know that puts our corners, but I think we had 2 good corners. Puts them on an island, but I'm not. That doesn't scare me. Safety does scare me. But if you could actually blitz them a lot and get that ball out of Aaron Rodgers' hand, then it goes to your point there, AC, that you might be able to get some turnovers and stuff like that. Do you guys? Because Al Golden's got to change something. I mean, he's got to change something. So, do you see them blitzing more being a option?
I don't think it would make a difference, honestly. I mean, that's just my personal opinion. I don't think they have the personnel to blitz.
Right.
Sadly, who are they sending? And when they have blitzed, these guys get nowhere close to getting home.
Yeah.
Carter, blitz him.
Well, what was the play with Battle where he blitzed and it looked like the quarterback was going to throw and he like stopped, right? And then he didn't go through. To Dale's point about personnel, this is where kind of having a third hybrid or safety that you can use in different packages would be very useful. They found a niche for Trey Flowers. That wasn't so much as a blitzer, but as kind of that slot, guard the tight ends, big receivers type of role. But if you had 3 capable safeties, with one of which being kind of that real true in the box, you can blitz them, that sort of thing. You can get creative with that. And that's why I think a lot of people were clamoring for all kinds of different safeties in free agency or waivers, all kinds of stuff. And they didn't do anything with that. So I think they kind of shot themselves in the foot with, at least at that position group. If you had another guy that you felt like that's more of your physical defender and you can send in on a blitz. And by the way, this is where you miss Mike Hilton too, right?
That's who I was thinking of the whole time.
I said they should have brought it back just for that fact alone. But they did.
I mean, he's older and whatever, but he was a leader in that locker room. This is where some of these things where you get overconfident and you get overconfident in your process and you get so gun shy about these guys getting old and all this kind of stuff where, you shed players from your roster. And granted, that's inevitable. Guys get old and they lose effectiveness. We saw that with Von Bell, but I mean, at some point you look at the process and you look at some of the guys they let go or allowed to go elsewhere. And, DJ Reader, Mike Hilton, Jesse Bates, the list goes on and on and on. And now you're seeing kind of what I would call the Abuehi Jake Fisher effect, right? You had all this faith in these guys you brought in, and now it's just collapsing in your face. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I have been bitching about this team for 2 weeks, so I'm trying to bring up a different type of topic because I get tired of bitching about it. So I don't necessarily believe, like I said, I'm not drinking the Kool-Aid. I don't believe they can do this, but there is a pathway, is all I'm saying.
Well, I want to stick to like the blitzing, and if there's a guy to utilize in that role, Dax Hill. Like maybe over the bye week, they're like, hey, that's a guy who could do that. He's done it before. He's done it at Michigan. He's done it here a little bit. Mm-hmm. And they've had to utilize him in coverage so much because they haven't trusted Cam Taylor-Britt where they were benching him or having him inactive. Cam's in there. Do you say, okay? And it's also not trusting Josh Newton, to be fair, who hasn't looked very good this year.
Yep.
Like they thought he might be a guy, and he's not.
Take a jump, and he hadn't. Yeah,
he has not. But Dax Hill could be that guy that if they want to bring somebody on the blitz, I don't think it should be Battle. I don't think it should be Stone. I don't think it should be either of the linebackers in Knight or Carter. I think it should be Dax Hill. That's my personal opinion. I think he's the one guy that you could bring in that Mike Hilton type role and let him just get after the quarterback and go get in the backfield and make a play. And we're not talking about bringing that a lot, but 2 or 3 times versus the Steelers in a big moment. Mm-hmm. Send it and see what happens.
Something. I mean, what's the worst case that happened? They give up 40 points. Okay, well, they gave up 40 points already.
We talked about this, I think, on your show a couple of weeks ago, Ice. It's a collapse on defense at every level. You're not generating pressure. You're not getting in with your interior players and that sort of thing. You're getting lousy tackling at the linebacker spot. And because you're not getting pressure up front or from that linebacker group blitzing, that sort of thing, the secondary suffers because they have to hold up in coverage a lot longer. So it's like this domino effect that is just hitting the Bengals all at once. And to your point, I guess, about, can they make a run, that sort of thing. The optimist in me can look back to whether it was, and most of the time it was, Joe Burrow. This team is incredibly streaky. Zach Taylor's incredibly streaky. Mm-hmm. Joe Burrow's incredibly streaky, and it usually happens right around this time of year and into December. Right. So if there is something to kind of hang your hat on, I guess it's that. But there's also
a little too late.
Yeah, and you have a quarterback who is playing well, and then you make that switch. Okay, is Joe Burrow going to hit that November stride, missing as many games as he did, right away? So there's like this or that type of thing going on with the team.
Now, one thing somebody brought this up to me either on the show or commented on something, I don't remember, and I haven't seen them even try this. But what would you guys think about possibly moving or trying Cam Taylor-Britt at safety? Would that be something that might be Dale? You're a draft guy. You followed him and you were happy they drafted him. You wanted them to draft him. Would he be a guy that they could maybe move to safety at some point this year? Because since we're so bad and he's hasn't done well at corner the last 2.5 years or at least 2 years, year and a half, put it that way.
I think he's a guy that could move to safety and it may be good for his career. It's not happening anytime soon, and it's not something that can happen in season. It's
right. It's hard. Yeah, I'm not saying a move in season. It's too hard to make that move.
I honestly think he's going to go somewhere else in a different system. Like it's something I put in my article, and why can I see Cam Taylor-Britt going to the Pro Bowl a year or two from now?
Probably
with another team at cornerback.
Yeah.
With 5 interceptions on the season, and this, I can't explain the why of that, but it's just something.
And we'll be texting Courtney and Darren like, we're so happy for you. I wish it would have happened freaking here.
Or another team transforms him into a successful safety, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
one or the other. Yep.
Yeah.
I just don't think it'll happen here. But yes, I think he has the skill set to be a good safety. I do.
That's like I said. That's something that people put out there for me to on different stuff. Now, AC, I don't know if I got to ask you this because you were on the show last Friday, and I did ask Dale this. Now, one thing I did bring up on a video I put together about a person that the Bengals could hire as "quote unquote" GM, and it's a guy that they trust, and that's the whole thing we come to.
Oh my God! Here we go with Marvin Lewis again.
Would you let me set it up first? Before you
continue.
I don't know. He just ruined it now. It's
He just took the air out of your balloon right there.
I was setting it all up. I was running it out. I was giving all my facts and yeah. So Marvin Lewis is GM because I say it because the Brown family trusts him, and the reason we said this on the show before. Whoever you bring in, because I got people on these reels and stuff going. Well, they just need to hire somebody from the outside. I mean, it's that simple. Like, do you know this organization? They don't do that, one. Second of all, they got to be able to work within the parameters, and that's where I think Marvin Lewis would be perfect for it. I mean, what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, he's been kind of in and out of college and the NFL. I don't know that I would just, if he was to come back, I don't know if I'd assume him the mantle of GM. He would be the guy they would trust the most probably to do that. I personally wouldn't do that. I'd kind of make him a maybe head of scouting or something. Yeah, some role. Yeah. But you said the key thing there, Ice, and it's they're not going to bring in people from the outside. That is what's needed. And when the biggest leaps that the Bengals have made in recent years, whether it was Marvin Lewis coming from championship Baltimore, whether it was Zach Taylor and whole new staff and all that kind of stuff, when they bring in the outside fresh ideas, that's when it's a gamble because sometimes it's either unproven people or it's people that, you're not sure their processes, all of that. But oftentimes they bring a different perspective than especially this franchise has held for so long and they're so closed off. They probably will not bring in someone that they really do not know for any kind of major roles like that. Right. But that's the perspective that needs to be brought in because clearly right now things are not working.
Yeah. And the harder thing is like they've gotten over the hump of bringing in a head coach from outside. They've done it back to back. The last two coaches they've hired that brought from the outside. I don't see them bringing in a guy from the outside to however you want to put it, take Duke's job, be the GM, have whatever title you want to put on it. I don't see that happening because one, I don't see somebody who is a young upcoming guy wanting to come here and do it when he knows if he waits, he probably can go somewhere else where he could have full control. And two, I don't know if the Brown family would trust anybody to do it. That's where I'm like, I hope I'm wrong. I would love them to bring somebody in from the outside and blow this whole thing up and start all over. That's what I want to happen. I just don't see it happening.
I'm a big proponent, and I've always liked the approach, and I would love to hear from both you guys on what I'm about to say here, but I'm a big proponent of, character in the locker room, leadership in the locker room or on a team and that sort of thing. I am almost at the point now, because the Bengals have a Joe Burrow inked long-term, they have a Jamar Chase inked long-term, T. Higgins, you have a set of leaders, even though you shed a bunch of the names that we talked about earlier, Reeder and Hilton and Bates and all those guys that were leaders as well. But you have a set of leaders already in this locker room. I am almost to the point of maybe mortgaging some long-term build out, longer term success, and shying away from some of the choir boys at this point. We saw kind of a blip in the radar where, it worked at times under Marvin Lewis and they felt that they can contain it. Obviously, it's a short-term Band-Aid. It's a short-term solution because inevitably you kind of have guys that are problems. I know there's Burton on the roster right now. But at some point, you got to start maybe making a few more gambles. And like we've talked about, moving up to get the prime player that you truly covet in the draft. Because getting guys snaked right before you, it's devastating. So I don't know. I'm not saying bring in, all the bad blood in there, but
that's a Bear Alexander message for Oregon. Bear Alexander is the guy who reminds me so much of Jermaine Burton in his profile because he transferred in high school. He's transferred in college. He kind of quit on your USC Trojans, Anthony, in 2024, but he had 32 pressures in 23, and he has a 15.1% stop rate as a run defender for Oregon this year, and he looks so good every time I watch his tape that I'm like, yeah, if he's there in like the third or fourth round, damn it, I'd do it. And I was not a Burton guy, to be fair.
Third or fourth round, yes, I take a shot at that. What I would like them to do is take the freaking layups. Like, quit trying to reach for guys who have a high ceiling and I love RAS, but a high RAS score. Get guys who are productive on the field. Yeah, Jihad, I've said this a million times. Yeah, Jihad Campbell sitting right there. Yeah, Malachi Stark sitting right there in the first round. Pick one of them, and it's better than what we got. That just quit thinking you're smarter than everybody else. Quit trying to get these guys like, oh, we can coach them up, make them like, no, just quit. Take the layup, but work smarter, not harder. Get the guys.
Jamar Stewart was one of two players that I didn't want them to pick in the first round that I knew they'd be interested in. It was him and Michael Williams. Williams went to San Francisco, hasn't done anything. Now he's injured. And then Stewart, who they did take,
hasn't done anything. He's injured.
Like everybody that was in that first round range that they might have picked, it was two players. Like,
and they took
sorry, I'm just one dumbass with an opinion that loves the draft and watches a lot of college football.
But to your point, AC, and Dale brought this up in his article, like he said, move up one spot to go get the guy you wanted. Karlaftis a couple years ago, we could have got
Walter Nolan.
Walter Nolan this past year. Karlaftis won one spot. The Chiefs got him. We ended up with Dax Hill. One spot. Walter Nolan, which I know he's been hurt, but they wanted Walter Nolan.
No, he looked good. He played last week.
Did he play? Okay,
yeah,
okay. I didn't know he played or not.
Fantastic.
But I mean, just move it one spot. Like say you give your first round pick and a 6th round pick and you move up, or a 5th round pick and you move up. Who cares?
Well, especially and Dax was a solid pick, but Karloff this year, falling there. We were picking at 31 that year.
Mm-hmm.
The Chiefs were picking at 30. That's the year we went to the Super Bowl. You were that close.
Yeah.
Karlaftis could have been that piece to add to another pass rusher. And it was like, this is a home run pick to go get him and trade in front of the Chiefs, which would have been a double hit.
Right.
And you wouldn't have to give up much to move up to 30 or 29.
You're doing one spot. That's it.
This goes back to me again, layers above player. This is process. And to me, the Bengals have always struggled, at least my perception. Who are you as a football team?
Mm-hmm.
Well, are you? They were innovative. Paul Brown was an innovator of offense, and obviously they've had great wide receivers, great quarterbacks, that sort of thing. So they have one right now. They have 2 great wide receivers locked up long term. Okay, so are you going to be if you're going to pledge to be score 40 a game, and you're kind of like, well, we'll try and do some things on defense. Okay, go go get more wide receivers. Then go get more running backs. Then find your identity. I love what Chris 727 said about we need an attitude on defense. Okay, well then establish that and draft the players that have that attitude and have the scouting department identify those kinds of players. Well, the scouting department is the lightest in the league, so you're just you know what I mean. So to me, this has always been a Bengals identity crisis as a football team. You know who the Ravens are. You know who the Steelers are. Even in down years, that sort of thing. They're going to be physical. They're going to be nasty. They're going to get after you on the pass rush. That's how they built their teams, and they always usually have steady offensive lines. And defensive lines. That's who those teams are. I can't really. There's a lot of flash on the Bengals offense when they're all out there and healthy. T. Higgins isn't in the lineup sometimes because of health. Joe Burrow's been hurt a lot, and so that flash goes away, and so now you're left with what are we as a football team, right? So to me, it's a process issue, and really saying who do we want to be as a football team, and hyper focus on how you beat your teams in the division and get 4 to 6. 6 is probably unrealistic, but 4 to 5 wins in the division every year. That should be your focus, because the easiest path in this division is to get to the playoffs, is to win the division. I mean, that's right. So I don't know. I'm going on a little rant here, but to me, the identity thing has always been a problem with the Bengals.
Especially with Zach Taylor's team. I think Marvin, we kind of had identity. It was run the ball, play defense, don't screw up. I think that's kind of what Marvin's was. Zach has been, we're going to be a flashy offense, at least try to be, and we're going to be a defense who tries to make a lot of turnovers. That's when we had success. But the funny thing is, the year we went to the Super Bowl, we weren't a flashy offense. The offense was okay. The defense is what took us to the Super Bowl. That's what's funny about this whole thing.
In the playoffs.
Yeah, in the playoffs, yeah.
In the playoffs, yeah. I mean, the offense kind of got them there a bit, but yeah, in the playoffs, it was defense and special teams. Evan McPherson was insane in that run. Yeah. Who, by the way, kudos to him, at least he's having a good year since a nice bounce back year after the injury.
They can get the right balls on the field.
Oh my God, that's just like
all right. All right, so I got clarification from Trags about that. So what happened? It's still a screw up, and this is even.
What happened was,
and the bigger screw up than they just got the wrong ball out there. Apparently, there's a certain amount of time that you have to get the team out there, get the field goal team out there, and once they set the ball, that's the ball. So by the time they decided to kick the field goal, the ball was set.
You mean that Zach Taylor mismanaged time?
Yes, he did. He mismanaged.
I'm shocked.
I know.
My shocked face about that.
It's even worse. I'm like, well, that's
I did watch a little bit of that show with Trags, and he said something, or maybe you pinned this as a social clip. It was like a short video, I think. Mm-hmm. But basically, the deal that he said that this does not seem like a serious this team is serious about winning a championship, and that is, Bengals reporters are usually they're all very, very good, but they also know that they gotta sometimes watch what they say and what they write.
The line.
Because credentials with the team I've been, I know, no, but him saying that just was deflating, and I take a lot of stock into what that guy says. That was very deflating, and he's around that team daily, probably. Yeah. And so I don't know if that was discussed further beyond that, but I did see that clip, and I just was like, oh God.
Yeah, it all goes back. It's like what Richard Skinner said. He said they're just stubborn, and I'm like, I don't understand being that stubborn when you've seen it for 30 years. That what you're doing doesn't work. Yes, you might when you get a number 1 pick and you get Joe Burrow and you get Jamar Chase, and it'll work for a year or two, but it's not sustainable. And when you can see that over and over and over again, it's like, how can you be that stubborn? Like, I mean, I run my own. We got a family business. I run that. I want it to be successful. Why wouldn't you? And the thing is, if you own an NFL franchise, you don't have to be successful to make money. You can just make money just despite yourself. But don't you take pride in your name being on the owner. Like we got runner properties. Like there's certain runner properties I don't want to manage because I don't want my name on that one. I don't want them saying they run that. I'm like, the Brown family is notorious for being bad owners, and they've earned every bit of it. Why would you be okay with that? That's what as a human being, why would you be okay with that?
Well, as Holmes has said a couple times, they're not just stubborn. They're arrogant, stubborn, and stupid. Acronym, ass. That front office is ass.
Well, the problem is because
you, Holmes.
I like that, but in one sense, they are not stupid people. They are highly educated.
Yeah,
they are.
Anthony, run with it. It was a good acronym.
No, but the way they run their team is stupid.
Yeah.
They're not. That's the oddest thing to me. They're not stupid people. They just the way they operate their team is stupid. But I don't know. They have always seemed, and I've briefly met a couple of them, but. They're always
yeah.
And I did meet Elizabeth when last time I was in Cincinnati. She was fun. But they do position themselves often as they think they're the smartest people in the room, right?
Yeah.
And so that is why it's almost like, how dare you question our process? How what do you mean? And then they point back to some obscure year or some, I mean, it's like. Anyway,
Zach Taylor's getting really good at that too by pointing back to.
He keeps talking about it. I know.
Going to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I know.
It's a half a decade ago, Zach.
Yeah, it was a while ago. I'm like, I mean, Duke does that too. It's like they're starting to become big-wise. They all hang out with each other. We know what we're doing. Like, yeah, we get Joe Burrow hurt every year, and we have no defense, and we can't draft. We know what we're doing. Like. I don't know. I'm just dumbfounded by the arrogance.
I'm sick of the lack of accountability from the front office and not speaking and stuff like that. And people are like, "Well, people don't ask for them to speak during season." Yes, they do.
Richard Skinner asked.
They all do,
yeah.
And they get turned down time and time to get trade deadline, all this stuff. And you should be speaking at those times, whether you're going to be active, not active.
Right.
You're looking like you should be having to answer something, right, during the season. Right. Lack of accountability, but you want accountability from your players.
Yeah. And when things go good, they're right in front of the microphone, like, hey, we did good. We're doing great. They had articles written about them in the New York Times. Hey, we're doing good. When we suck, I can't. Yeah, no, I'm not. No comment. It's like, dude, you can't be. All right, it's just like any of us, like Dale. Let's just say you put out a draft guide and you have a guy ranked high, and some team drafts him, and he's a bust. You're like, well, I was wrong. I put my name on it. I'm like, if I some stupid take I say, and I put it out there.
To be fair, a lot of people do that. They never talk about the bust. I'm like, yeah, I was wrong on that guy.
Yeah. You got to have accountability for what you say or what you do. I mean, that's just
like thoughts,
right.
Like
I'm sure people are going to, if I clip this out, which I probably will, my whole thing, like, well, we got a shot. You never know. People are like, you're stupid. We don't have a shot at all. Like, well, we do if this works. But if I'm wrong, I'm wrong, which I mean, I don't necessarily believe that.
You're being optimistic. There's nothing. Yeah. That's one thing too. I have no problem. Yes,
down this road. I just can't.
100%. It's a healthy mindset to be optimistic. It's not the world I live in, but I love people that do. You know what I mean? Like, I can separate. My life's hard enough in general, but I can separate. Like, I can talk about the Bengals. I have like no emotion.
I do.
I am not really mad. Not like, I guess I'm happy. Well, I guess there's emotion when things are good, but when it's bad, with the draft, I just think about if we get a guy like Red Murdoch at linebacker, that's perfect 2.0. That's where my head goes, and that's what keeps me safe.
It's like that's where I go back to what I said last week, where I kind of wanted to get so bad that and that's the only way I think things are changing. This goes so bad They have to change something. But as a fan,
Yeah,
I'm tired of going through that. I don't want to go through that. I want to go to the playoffs. I want to win the damn Super Bowl. That's what I want to do because we already went through that last 2 years.
Well, I've seen some of Goodberry's chat this week or whatever stuff on X where, he's been going at it with people who are like, oh, that type of thing. And he's like, I want to see them go 6-2 and play good. I want to be a fan and watch my team and have hope.
Right.
Now, it may ultimately land us with pick 17 or 18 or whatever, but at least we'll be in the mix, right? We'll be trying. That's what I want to. I'm never going to root for us to lose. It was hard to root for us to lose to get Joe Burrow against the Dolphins.
But the thing is, though, even if you have pick 17, what was our pick last year? Was it 17 last year? I can't remember what we have. All right, so we had pick 17 last year. If you take Jihad Campbell or Malachi Starks, we're not bitching about who you drafted. So, I mean, you don't have to have that. That's what everybody's like. I'll just get a high draft pick. You can get good
draft
players.
Draft better. It doesn't matter where you draft.
That's what I keep saying. It's like the whole. No matter what happens this season, we have documented proof of people you have drafted who don't work. We don't.
They have sadly proven they can't draft outside the top 5.
Right. So change something.
So with it, to me, the Bengals exemplify a team that is most of the time hyper risk adverse. And you can look at the draft, not moving up, not going big in free agency most of the time. They are largely risk adverse, but they have spots of desperation. And those spots of desperation, particularly in draft picks, has torpedoed the team. You can look at when they did the Abwehi Fisher thing. You can go back to Akili Smith. They were picking number 3 overall. 2 quarterbacks went in front of them.
They could have had every draft pick in the North States.
So they were desperate for a quarterback, and they grabbed the biggest project of them all in that class, pretty much. Right. Then you can go to the Billy Price thing, right? Frank Ragnow gets snagged right before him. We got to get a center, and they do that. That torpedoes that. Now this year, they were focused probably on a couple of positions, but we know they like Shamar Stewart, and they had questions with Trey Hendrickson. Sam Hubbard was retiring, and they're like, we need an edge guy. So I'm not saying Shamar Stewart's a bust. He could have a great rest of this year or great, next couple of years, and I hope he does. But right now, these spots of desperation, after being so risk adverse in many other ways of how they run their franchise, it kills them. It kills them.
Dustin Graff here says, it sucks. The draft can end up being 50-50 on success. Fairchild Rivers, which have been good. Barrett Carter, I think Taj Brooks has been great on special teams. I'd like to see Taj Brooks actually get some more shots at right, but they did hit it on so far. We'll see what now. I thought McKinley Jackson would make a jump in the second year, but it looks like Jalen Rivers and Dylan Fairchild are 2 good guards. Let's see what happens next year, because for some reason our draft picks that we think are good one year can't make the jump next year. Dan, I want to ask you a question here.
I was going to say our first two picks, though, is the premium picks, and Shamar Stewart, who is a bit of a project, and Demetrius Knight, who's a 25-year-old linebacker that was at best a 3rd-round pick. Mm-hmm. And you took him in the 2nd because it was a weak linebacker class. Now the next 2 are going to be good linebackers, but it's like you're trying to force needs because you're not aggressive in free agency.
Right.
They don't get out of their own way, and they put themselves in these holes, as AC was talking about. They paint themselves in corners that we've got to take a linebacker here. I just wonder, they probably had Swessinger high. They probably thought Swessinger would be there in the 2nd. They should have, because it was Campbell and Swessinger. Mm-hmm. Point blank, the 2 linebackers you wanted to draft. Swessinger goes right away. They're like, well, we got to take the next guy. And didn't even think about a Tate Ratledge or anybody else.
Right, that's who I wanted. So I question here. Nostradamus here says, get off Stark's train. The kid has been ass this year. I thought he's been playing good for Baltimore. Am I wrong on that?
He's played better the last couple of weeks. The whole Baltimore defense has been bad.
Yeah, the whole defense.
A lot of BK's been out, a lot of guys, but now that they're starting to get a little healthier and starting to figure out their personnel, they're starting to do a lot better, and he's looked a lot better along with that. And as a rookie, that's what you hope for, right? That a guy starts looking better as the season goes.
Yeah, which ours aren't.
I think that Starks still would have been a good pick. Yeah. Like, it was Campbell and Starks for me was my highest rated players.
Yeah,
and Mike Green, but
it was. I liked Mike Green.
That was off field.
Yeah, I liked Mike Green a lot, but I didn't think they were going to take it. Mine was we both on Nolan, Starks, and then Campbell. But
Nolan was going to be the pick. Like we were on here on the draft show, and we had Andrew Fox Miller on, and he's telling me 3 picks ahead. They're taking Walter Nolan if he's on the board, and I'm getting so excited because that was my guy. I'm like 17% pass rush win rate, 10% stop rate. I'm like, those guys translate to the NFL. Those are your best defensive tackles in the league, and we need interior pass rush. And he goes to the Cardinals 1 pick ahead, which is what we talked about earlier.
Yep.
Trading up. Get your guy.
Get your guy. All right, Dustin here. What do you guys see they do with Burton and Jackson moving forward? They are only in year 2 of their rookie deals. Well, McKinley Jackson, I ain't freaking playing, which I'd still would like to know why they're not playing them. I have no idea what they're gonna do with them. I mean, they don't cost them any money, but if hopefully they sign some free agents and they don't have any room for them and they draft a bunch of guys, they got to cut them, I guess. What do you guys think?
We've speculated practice habits for Jackson, but
it's gotta be.
When he played last year, he looked good. When he played in preseason, I clipped it up. He looked good. Right. He's in Al Golden doghouse for whatever reason. I'd be playing the hell out of that kid with the defense this bad. Now, Jermaine Burton, I don't really give a shit because our offense is still great without him.
Yeah.
And every guy we bring in still is good. Like the kid we have is better.
So is Al Golden being too stubborn? Because I'm like, you can't stop the run. You had this big dude who played pretty good last year. Why are you not playing him?
Do you remember when Carlos Dunlap was a rookie in 2010? He was a guy that he just wasn't getting time, and then the season started to fall apart, and that's when he and Atkins started to get more playing time towards the end of that season, and then they're like, we have 2 really good players right here. And it was all about sending a message, right? Sending a message not only to that specific player, you got to practice better, that was the rumor then with Dunlap, the attitude, the practice habits, all that kind of stuff. It's about sending a message. Well, at some point, if and when you do get those guys on the field and they're producing and you're going, or they're playing pretty well, you go, doesn't that message kind of ring hollow, right? I mean, it's like you're doing that just as almost a detriment to the team. I'm not saying McKinley Jackson and Jermaine Burton are going to come in and be saviors of this season or anything like that. But at some point, those are 2, 3, third-round picks from a year ago. You need to find out what you have in those guys. If they suck at practice, if they have a shitty attitude or whatever, at some point you need to find out if you can get something out of them. That's something.
That's the thing I said last year about playing Jordan Battle and Miles Murphy. I'm like, Lou wouldn't play him. I'm like, you got to find out something. And this is kind of like McKinley Jackson. We have it on tape. He looked pretty good in games. Why? And you can't stop the run. There's a big motherfucker that's on your team. Why don't you play him? See what?
Or cut him and get other guys, right? I mean, if you're that disenchanted with them, I know it's early in their career, but if you are that disenchanted with those 2 players and you don't dress them, they are probably embarrassed as all hell, right, within that locker room.
Oh yeah.
If you're not gonna play them, get rid of them and find some guys that you like better or practice better or whatever the problem is. Stay away from the casinos, whatever, and get them in the building and play them.
That's what I heard. I heard that's a lot of problem with some of these younger defensive guys. They're out drinking and partying too much of what I've heard. But
I haven't heard anything about McKinley Jackson in that aspect. I've heard the same thing
about him.
I know about other players. I'm with you.
Yeah.
No, I wanted to clarify that. I think we've heard a lot of the same stuff.
Yeah, I'm glad you clarified that. Yeah, I'm not saying that about him at all. I think he's been doing what he's supposed to be doing, but apparently Al Golden isn't happy with him. Anyway, boys, we've been on Alan for I've been on for 57 minutes. I gotta get the hell out of here. I appreciate you guys jumping on early. I do. This is one of my funnest shows that we do. I appreciate you guys being able to jump on every Friday. I have a great time with you guys. AC, Dale, plug some stuff before I let you go.
Bengals and Brews, Cincy Jungle. Appreciate you.
Peace. Yep. Orange and Black Insider, Cincy Jungle. And I love you guys. See ya.
See you, AC. Thanks, guys. All right, guys. Appreciate it. Hope you guys enjoyed that as much as I did. I got to get the heck on out of here. Make sure you guys, thanks for watching. Of course, I've been live streaming on YouTube, Facebook, X, Twitch, Instagram. You can follow me on all those along with TikTok and Threads. Subscribe to my Substack. I put an article about my crazy idea of how the Bengals could possibly get back into this. And the only reason I said it is I was thinking how Joe Burrow is thinking, because he literally said in his press conference, we can't win the wild card. The only way to win this is to win the division, and they can still win the division. It's a tremendous long shot. I don't exactly believe they can do it, but that's the path that they have to go to win this thing. We'll see what happens.
All right, shout out to my sponsors. They are Party Lawn and Landscaping for all your lawn and landscaping needs. You need your grass cut, you need shrubbery trimmed, I don't know, you need a paper patio, you need anything. I mean anything. Landscaping required. Think Party Lawn and Landscaping. Also, shout out to T Properties, quality housing for quality people. Check out the website at www.tpropertiesllc.com for all your rental property management needs and your rental needs. And of course, Meyer Window, Door, and more. I got it in my house. I highly recommend you get them in yours. They're energy efficient, great looking windows, easy to clean. Meyer Window, Door, and more. The website is MeyerCincinnati.com. And also shout out to my favorite brewery, Moorline Lager House. Get on down there, get you some delicious Moorline beer, some delicious Moorline food. And tell them I sent you. Moorline Lager House.
And come on back down to Moorline Lager House this Sunday. I'll be down there doing the Bengals Steelers watch party. I'll be down there at noon. Game starts at 1. Playing some music for the first hour. Getting everybody some vibes, getting you ready for the Bengals Steelers game. And then between commercials, I'll be playing music. We'll be giving away surprises and stuff. We got $5 drafts, $5 well drinks, $5 house wines, and $5 shots of the day. Now, next Sunday, make sure you come on down to the Best Day Brewery pre-experience at Moorline Lager House. When you buy a ticket, you are automatically registered to have a chance to win this autographed T. Higgins helmet. If you want a second chance, go to the Moorline Lager House Facebook page or website and join the reward program. That way you are entered twice. So come on down this Sunday and next Sunday at the Moorline Lager House. Also, next Saturday, the 22nd, I'll be involved in the quote-unquote celebrity beer stein holding competition. Again, I do not consider myself a celebrity. They just are scraping it to get somebody. But come down. You can laugh at me, see how bad I do at this thing. The whole thing starts at noon. They got a whole bunch of beer games. The International Stein Holding Competition, I think, is actually going to be held there. We're doing the celebrity one. The whole thing starts at 12. My competition starts at 3. So make sure you guys come on down and enjoy it. Next Sunday, we got the tent out there with a big-ass TV screen out there. It's going to be heated, so if you guys are cold, come into the tent, warm up. We're going to have all kinds of food down there, drink. It's going to be a great time. Other than that, you guys have a wonderful weekend. I'll see you back here on Monday, hopefully for Bengals Victory Monday with Cap and Corey. And remember one thing only, that's Who Day for life. And everybody throw it up. Bengals World Order. That's just sports, baby. See ya!
Another great show. You guys still here? The show's over. You can come back tomorrow. I'm out of here. See ya.